Hey, digital designers. So we're going to get even deeper into Blender physics today with a function called rigid body. This is basically a type of physics that you can apply to your models to make them fall and have gravity and bounciness and weight to them, which is really kind of cool to play around with. Here's how we're going to do it. First, we're going to go to a new general document. We're going to delete all of our basic objects, and we're going to start with a plane. So I'm going to do, let me turn on my screencast keys here. Let's do this. This is not for you guys, that's just for me so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to do Shift A, and I'm going to add a mesh plane. In edit mode, I'm going to scale this guy way up so that I have a flat surface for my materials to bounce on, okay? Then I'll tab back into edit mode or object mode and have that set up right there. Now this is going to be the floor that our objects drop on, and now we need to create an object. So let's add a mesh. Let's start with one of these icospheres, okay? Now, icospheres are kind of funny because they have these triangular sides, which means when they hit the ground, they'll bounce in unique ways because they all have these little points and flat surfaces on them, okay? So I'm going to create an icosphere, and I'm going to lift it up just a little bit above my surface, maybe right about here, okay? Now, if I were to start an animation down here, nothing's going to happen. They both just float in midair, and they don't interact at all. Let's take this back to the beginning. I need to add some physics to these two objects so that they will fall with gravity, okay? Your physics tab is this tiny little icon here. It looks like a little atomic symbol. And we're going to click it, and we're going to add to this icosphere something called rigid body, okay? Now, rigid body comes in two different forms, active and passive. And the easiest way to remember this is that whatever is falling, that's going to be active, and whatever is staying still, that's going to be passive. So I'm going to make this icosphere active. You can see it has a weight right now of 1 kilogram. And then down here, its collisions can be set to match a different shape. Now let me explain a little bit about this. By default, every object in Blender has a little bit of a force field around it. And when that force field hits something else, it's going to interact in a certain way. We want our object to have a force field that matches its shape. So we're going to change its shape here to mesh. We want it to match the mesh that is there right now, okay? So now that those two things are set, this icosphere is ready to fall. The next thing I need to do is give some rigid body physics to my floor. So now I'm going to click on the floor. I'm going to also choose rigid body. And this one, since it's not moving, is going to be set to passive, okay? And I want its shape to also be mesh, all right? So those two things now match. Now watch what happens. When I hit play, my ball now bounces, and it's got a little bit of bounce to it, okay? It's light enough that it will bounce and roll a little bit a ways, okay? Now let's try this again. I'm going to always roll this back to the beginning when I want to make a change. Right now, this icosphere only weighs 1 kilogram. Let's knock this down to 0.2. So now it's very, very light, okay? We're going to hit play, bonk, bonk, bonk. It's got a little bit more bounce to it now because it's a lighter object, okay? You could try it the other way by giving it even more weight. And just for reference, 1 kilogram is about the weight of a cinder block, one of those cement blocks that we build houses with. So just keep that in the back of your mind. All right, now, since we've set this up, we can have some fun with it. Let's take this icosphere and let's duplicate it. I'm going to do Shift D, and I'm going to create a few of these just in different positions here, okay? I don't want to overdo it. I'm not trying to crash my computer, but I want to add a few of these in here. And every one that I make a copy of gets copied with its active rigid body physics. So now when I hit play, these things are going to interact with each other, and some of them are even going to roll right off that surface into the void, okay? There's nothing down there. They just keep falling for infinity. So let's roll this back. Let's make a little container for this. I'm going to tab into edit mode. I'm going to take these edges right here. So I'm just doing edge select. I'm going to click on 1, 2, 3, 4 edges. And I'm going to pick them up with E. Okay. And then I want to delete this part so that there's a little box for these guys to fall into. I'm going to go to face select, grab that face and delete it. Delete only the face. And now I've got a box, okay? Back into object mode. Let's hit play. They're going to drop, ding, 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 ding. But now none of them are going to fall out of that box. They'll be contained. So let's have some fun with this now. I want you guys to experiment. What other shapes can we do with this? And what happens if we drop them from higher? What happens if we take the box and we rotate it a little bit? Okay. Can we catch those balls even when they hit a surface? Can we make a marble run where the balls hit a surface and roll into a loop-de-loop or jump? See what you can do. Let's experiment a little bit and see how far we can push rigid body physics.